Hey y'all, John here, Second Chance Composting, secondchancecomposting.com. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to talk today about mud, getting stuck, wet conditions, snowy conditions, but more of the mud and the wet. Again, please like and subscribe. Second Chance Composting. We do all sorts of composting videos. We pick up, haul, process. We sell the finished product. I do the YouTube video as a way to follow our journey since we started the business about 4 years ago. We do equipment reviews, good, bad, the ugly. I try to cover as much as I possibly can about running a business, specifically a composting business. So today I want to talk about muddy and wet conditions. I knew going into it, it would be something that would be a problem because I own land that's raw land, and I've had muddy problems before, but realistically it's been a lot. Whether it's getting the dump trailer or the truck stuck, or the loader stuck up here. Last week I got stuck down the hill. Today I actually got stuck over here for a minute in this little mud pit here. And we've had drought conditions here this summer. It's November 3rd or 4th today, but it has not been that rainy. It really hasn't. We haven't had that much water, and as you can see, there's just piles of it, puddles of it. The truck gets in the trailer. I've gotten stuck when we first came up here, right after I'd cleared the snow out of the way. We didn't know the lay of the land, and I got stuck somewhere over there. I had a guy dropping wood chips get stuck this year, and that was in the summer, and this was like bone dry. I've had the truck and trailer stuck up here getting out during snowstorms. I did put down a bunch of gravel here, so all this is gravel all the way back to the tipping and mixing area here. Can't tell, but there is gravel here, all the way to over there for the high carbon storage area. And this has been okay. I've had to fill it in a bunch of times. It kind of extended out more and more because it would just pool into different areas. This was a really bad mud pit here. And basically I put all this gravel down and the water just migrated to this area now. And now I have this pool, and this is right where I need to load for screening. So this is a problem. If I could go back, or not if I could go back, but if I own this property, I lease it, I would put some big money, invest in the future, and make it easier, more efficient by getting this graded, flattened, and then putting down a lot more gravel to have a working area, because it works enough, but it's not a long-term way of doing things. You come up here, you got a few hours to work, and you're just fighting with trying to make sure you're not getting stuck or going slow, and your tires are spinning. Or last week I came up to do work and I ended up getting stuck down the hill, like I said, and then we had to try to pull it out, and it was like 3 hours worth of time just gone for just because this place is wet and muddy. And again, it's not like this is anything crazy. We haven't had that much moisture this year. So it really is an issue. I'm trying to kind of work with it the best way as possible. It's kind of the nature of the beast to some degree. I don't own this land, like I said. I have a short-term lease on it, and it's not worth me putting a bunch of money into getting this really flattened out. If I owned it and I knew I was going to be here for a long time, that's one of the first things I would do. And you kind of work with what you have, but now it's becoming a point where it's getting in the way of being able to do my job properly and efficiently, which is important to me. I don't want to come up here and waste time. Also, you're just trying to drag the compost to move the piles. You're picking up mud, and it's too much. There's got to be a better way, and I know there is. We're working towards it, but in the interim and while we're while we're not there, while we're not to the point where we need to be yet with that, we're kind of just dealing with it. But it's way more of an issue than I thought it would be. I did a compost site tour a couple years back, and the guy's been doing it since, his family's been doing it since 1985, which is when I was born. I'm 40. So he told us that it was a huge investment to get his concrete pad down, but he said it's paid for itself already many times over. And I can see why. I can definitely see why. If this was all on concrete, I could put the blade of the bucket down flat and just scrape and not have to worry about, look at this. I mean, not have to worry about this. It'd be so much more. I don't even care about easy. It'd be so much more efficient. I wouldn't be wasting my time, money, things like that. So it's definitely a huge issue. I know other composters deal with it. Again, I have other plans to move towards something better, but we're not there yet, and we're kind of, again, working with what we have. Also, the muddy conditions for screening. I mean, look at this. This is all, I screened today for a while, and this is all just stuck. And this has to do somewhat with the screener, but more because of the muddy conditions. I don't cover our piles, don't have the tarps to do so. Maybe I should. But this is made for compost. Like, again, we're not getting that much more moisture up here than anywhere else, especially this year. So, you know, you're missing out on a lot of fines coming through here, the good stuff, because it's so wet, it's just grabbing everything. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in there. This is a 1/2-inch screen, but because it's so wet, it's not able to pull the 1/2-inch stuff through as much. And again, you're wasting time, you're wasting efficiency, gas, you're running the machines, but they're not doing the job properly because it's so full of mud and moisture. So with that, it's an issue. Also here where the hopper that feeds down into the conveyor, this thing gets all gummed up over and over and over. I have to continuously get out of the loader and take a stick from all these different four corners, and I have to push all the stuff down. You can even see it sitting in there now. There's a bunch in there right now. I kind of have to hit this thing, and so it all gets gummed up. I actually had more hours to be able to screen today, and I had to quit because this thing was getting, see this pile here? That was coming off the conveyor at the bottom there, and it was getting so gummed up underneath that the conveyor was stopping. This is partially more of an issue with the screener itself, but you know, there's a guard for this conveyor that we had to take off because it was getting so full of compost under here that it actually stopped this whole conveyor from moving, just because, again, it's so wet. But this machine and this conveyor itself, the screener and the conveyor, are made for compost. They're not, like, they should be working. But again, the moisture is such an issue. I don't really know, like, what a better solution is at this point for us where we're at. Like, again, I'm not here. If I had a 10-year lease, yeah, I'd put down some money and get something here and cover at least a decent part of this with gravel or blacktop or something. But it just doesn't make any sort of financial sense or business sense to do that right now without knowing how long we'll be here. But yeah, the compost being so wet as well makes an issue. Feeding it into there, gumming it up, as I said. So don't take it lightly. I think that getting stuck in muddy conditions or muddy conditions is one of my 1A or 1B. one or two number problem that I have with the business is mud and getting stuck. The other problem, a big one, is equipment. And in this instance, they're tied together because the equipment's not running properly because everything's so wet and muddy. But also, I do another video on it. But equipment breakdown, failure, is a close, maybe number one, with mud being number two. But they're both right there as far as issues and trouble, no matter what you do. So that's kind of what I wanted to share today. Definitely a big problem if you're able to find land that already has blacktop, gravel, even if it's a small section, something. Consider yourself very lucky. As a composter, especially for a processor, not just a hauler, processing, it's very hard to find land that you can even do this at. It's hard to find land that you can get zoned to do it. That you're gonna be able to go and get approved through the Board of Health. That's far enough away from neighbors, but close enough to other places where you're gonna get, wood chips and leaves and stuff from community members. That's not too far away, so you can haul your material, your food scraps, whatever you're bringing in, manure, and you don't have to go too far out of the way. It's a delicate balance. And when you do find a piece of land that, and if you don't own it, somebody to rent it or lease it from. When you do find a place that checks all those boxes, like this place did, and it's close to our office and the rest of our infrastructure, you go with it. And I'm very happy that we have this place and we've made it work. But I've been in here since last March. It was snow 5 feet high all throughout when I got up here. I had to literally dig us out of here. So I didn't really understand what the mud was going to be like until the spring. And I dealt with it in the spring. It wasn't too bad because I didn't have a lot of material here yet. I wasn't moving the loader around all that much. I was just kind of a little bit here and there. But now, after the whole summer, and now we're into fall here, I'm definitely seeing how much of an issue this is. A lot of standing water in multiple spots throughout the place. You don't know that until you get in the place and you work the land, work with it. So again, I'm very thankful for having this, and I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying this is an issue that you might have to deal with. And if I could, there's really nothing I could do differently, I don't think. But it would be something that I'd be extremely mindful of. If you find a place that's like an old gravel pit, you might be in way better condition than this. If you have a place that's, again, already has some gravel or blacktop or driveway, anything down, it's going to help you tremendously. Or if you have a land that's, flat and there's slopes down to, have the water run off, perfect. This slopes down, but it's over there. This is very up and down, and land's kind of all over the place. And it's 30 something acres. And there actually is wetland way further on the other side, not close enough to be an issue as far as me getting approval to be here, but I'm seeing the results of that. So something to definitely be very mindful of. I heard that the other compost site say about his concrete pad, how expensive it was, but how much it was worth it. And I can see that. I can't wait for the day when I can have a place that has blacktop or concrete or even gravel throughout. Gravel can be an issue in its own way because you're scraping up the gravel a lot by mistake, especially if you're in a hilly area. But yeah, once I have a spot where there's blacktop or concrete down and I can put that blade down on that bucket and scrape and just, I mean, even stuff like this. I mean, this is so wet that the conveyor brings it back down on the bottom and it scrapes off there in that pile, scrapes off there in that pile, and then scrapes it off over here where I told you it kind of got gummed up. So there's 3 different spots, and it falls off over there because this thing gets so full. Let me show you. Again, this corner gets so full with compost when it's wet that it ends up falling over there. And all that's great, good compost. And I'm just gonna lose it to the ground. So if this was blacktop here or concrete, whatever, I can just shovel up. And I'm learning now, I can put a bucket under there next time, but still, you don't want to lose product that you work so hard to get. That's, you know, worth a lot. So if this was gravel, or excuse me, if this was blacktop or concrete, wouldn't be as big a deal. I could just shovel it up, throw it in the finished product there. But again, I'm not there. This stuff here, same thing. That's all good stuff. But now look at it. It's all mixed in with these rocks and stuff. I can't use it. So you're losing product. It's all going in the ground. Same thing when I'm turning piles. Again, mud, a little bit of mud's getting mixed there, which isn't a huge deal. It's all natural stuff, and it all break down with the compost. But it's hard to see where you're at. It's hard to see if you're at a level. Sometimes you're digging in and your wheels are spinning. It's just a mess. So again, don't take it lightly. You know, you kind of work with what you have, and it's not as easy to say, like, set everything in motion before you get in there. That sometimes is impossible. I mean, I got this place in, I said March, and I already had stuff that I had to bring here. I had years worth of compost and wood chips and stuff sitting there that needed to come up here. So I just got in. I mean, I knew where I was going to put stuff, but I didn't know what it was going to be like. And my first thing I did was put gravel down. The first thing I did is I put gravel here just to get in and out because I knew I didn't want to get stuck. But, you know, who knew what it was going to be like this? Just right off the main area, right off the main driveway. So definitely put a lot of thought into it. If you have the availability to be able to somehow get it set in place before you start operations, perfect. If not, you kind of have to work with what you work with. I have to now be careful of different spots I go. I can't necessarily go down this way with the loader right now because I might get stuck. And this is where I have to come and pick all this stuff up. I mean, I tried to come in from the side here today with the loader and make a scoop that way, and I couldn't because I got stuck here. And that's all, this corner is all stuff that should be in a windrow. I've got another load coming tomorrow, so it's not a big deal. I'm gonna mix it, but you know, I would have liked to have this cleaned up, but I couldn't because of the mud. So, and it goes all the way down there, and that's where I got stuck last time. It's all over the place here. And you work with what you got. I'm very happy with this place. It's done very well for us. We've been able to grow. We've been able to manage a lot of material here, but the muddy conditions are a big issue. Think about it. If you can find some sort of solution beforehand, if you can make it a big part of your land search to find something that's already has concrete or blacktop or gravel, great. It might not make sense to do that because it's very hard to find land as it is, but if you set that up knowing that you're not willing to take something that's going to be a muddy mess, then good for you. But it's not easy to find property that's going to fit all your needs. So, like as in everything else in life, it's not perfect. There's some negatives to it, but you work around it, you figure it out, and you say, hey, I'm going to do better. I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to, you know, next step, I know what I'm going to do, and I know how I'm going to make it easier next time around. But 4 years in, this is my third site that I've built from the ground up. I would definitely recommend making sure that it's a very, very big part of your plans that you are making sure you're going to have a system for dealing with mud and getting stuck with both trucks, trailers, loaders, dump trucks, what have you. Um, so again, John from Second Chance Composting, please like and subscribe. Any comments below, feel free to let me know your thoughts. I appreciate your time today. Happy composting, everybody.